I'm just gonna turn that on so I don't forget, because I always forget. Yeah, I know it's like super warm here. I've had to start watering some of the trees because they're looking a little drought stricken.
Yeah.
And yeah, my son, we had a early Thanksgiving today because I'm away next weekend, and they went swimming at the lake yesterday.
Yeah.
And they said it wasn't even cold.
Yeah. It's just absolutely bizarre.
It is very strange. Very strange. So, and then on the other side of our country, it's hurricane season apparently.
Yeah. I
Here
know.
it is.
It and intense.
Yeah.
And
Oh
wicked
yeah.
hurt.
I know. Yeah, you just don't even know where it's all going.
No.
But
It's
boy,
just
oh boy, the climate is a changing.
the boy, oh boy, the climate is Mother Nature has said, okay,
Yeah, I'm tired of you.
yeah, deal with me now.
Time to go. Time for you to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
But yeah.
It's not so how was your summer? How was your all of your dog shows and such?
Oh, they were a lot of fun. We had a great time. They did well. Got away and enjoyed life somewhat. Jerry got some peace and quiet at home to work.
Nice.
So it was all good. But yeah, it's nice to be home again
I
and
bet.
kind of back into a routine. I find the older I get, the more I appreciate a routine.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
you?
Oh, definitely. We did a little bit of fishing this summer. We got away a little bit. But it's been a pretty chill and lovely summer.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all deserve it after the last couple of years,
Yeah.
which were weird as all get out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Weird as all get out and
sorry.
weird as all get out. And as you say, we deserve a little bit of
Yeah.
peace and quiet and less
Mhm.
stress.
I actually was at Burns Lake at a dog show this summer, and I
Nice.
had to tell Jerry that they're building a McDonald's in Vanderhoof, and he was very upset.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
Oh,
Some people are very happy, and some
I
people
know.
are like, why on earth would we need a McDonald's?
I know. He was like, "That's just wrong." I said, "Any more wrong than the Tim Hortons it's across from?" He says, "No, but as wrong as as traffic lights."
Yeah. Um, and the A&W, which will get shut down because of McDonald's, but
Oh
whatever.
yeah, yeah. It might. A&W makes better burgers.
Do
And
and less impact on the environment. They're
yes,
better recycling.
they're much better for the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we have a burger out, we have a A&W. But
Yeah.
that's because I love root beer too.
Yeah. We don't tend to do a lot of that at all, but
No,
my
we don't
son
either.
at least with McDonald's. And a lot of people like McDonald's coffee better than Tim Hortons. That's all I've been
Yeah.
hearing lately.
Oh yeah, that McDonald's did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, well, why don't we get started? And if anybody joins, they can join.
Awesome.
And I think I just gotta check and make sure I do have the video running. Yeah, it's recording. Okay, well, let's go back to the front page here. So, welcome to Living Well Through Menopause. I put this series together because I've had so many friends come to me and ask me if there's anything that we can do about the multiple symptoms of peri-menopause, menopause, and then post-menopause, because they're just so drastic sometimes and nobody seems to talk about them. So I joined a bunch of menopause groups and started to learn what the bulk of women are talking about in terms of the symptoms that they're having. I will admit, post-menopausal, hallelujah. And I did my entire menopause without hormone therapy because my mom had estrogen receptive breast cancer, and that's what she passed away from. So I made the choice for myself that I would not do any hormone replacement therapy, which has its pros and cons. Always talk to your healthcare provider about what those are. But the presentation tonight is all about some holistic ways that you can deal with the symptoms, of the most distressing symptoms, especially of peri and menopause. Post-menopause, there's some different ones, and we'll get to those towards the end. But Always, I like to say that this information is for educational purposes only and I am not a physician. And it only is to help you, empower you to make your own decisions based on your own research. And very important, your partnership with your healthcare provider, whether that's an ND, an MD, a nurse practitioner, whatever that is, Chinese medicine practitioner, whatever that is, talk to your healthcare provider, so that if you know that everybody knows what's going on, and if you are on medications or whatever, that there's nothing going to interact. The things that I'm going to talk about tonight have not been evaluated by Health Canada, and the products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. This slide presentation is based on my personal experience and the experiences that I've been told about by other women that I know and other women that I have met. And of course, if you have any other healthcare condition, always talk to your healthcare provider when you're going to start something new, because there's always some very interesting things that can come up. So, welcome to Living Well Through Menopause. Sleepless nights, hot flashes, mood swings, weight gain, trouble with memory, feeling like you're in a fog. These are some of the most significant issues that women going through the various stages of menopause often complain about. They can be mild or they can be significant, and they can really impact your sense of self-worth, your sense of your relationships, and your ability. Oh, and I just want to say, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask them as we go along. If something tweaks here, I want to make sure we catch it in the moment.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. I've heard so many women complain bitterly about this phase of life. And if you go on to some of the menopausal Facebook groups, it really is just kind of a litany of shock and horror and just negative impact about this phase of life, and women finding difficulty adapting to it. And I personally had a lot of symptoms. I had terrible hot flashes when I was in menopause. Literally, my hot flashes were from my neck up, and it felt like my brain was boiling. And I ignored them for a long time, tried and just laughed them off because I knew that I wasn't going to do hormone therapy. So didn't really go much farther than that. But then I found out that you really could do something about them. And what I learned is that menopause doesn't have to be miserable, right? There's a lot of acceptance that we have to think about, and what our feelings are about this period of our life, and then looking at the symptoms that we're having, because there are some natural and safe practices and products that you can incorporate into your life to help eliminate or ease some of them, the worst symptoms. And you get to choose which ones are right for you and right for your body, but you have to be open to looking at them in the first place. So when I was in the throes of menopause, I called it the menopausal mush. I just felt like hot flashes and weight gain, and then these kind of weird mood swings that didn't really relate to situations, not unlike period mood swings, but just different. You know, coming to terms with what you believed with the around the vibrancy of being a woman, right? There's lots of different cultural beliefs that we have around what it means to be female and a woman in this culture. So, you know, all of those things are kind of challenged during menopause. But when I started thinking differently about my role in the world, and I found some really helpful natural products for myself, this really kind of opened up a new path for me. And so hopefully this class will open you up to the personal and lifestyle changes that you can make to live well through menopause. Okay, so the first thing we need to understand is, what is menopause? So menopause is the phase of life in women that signifies the end of our reproductive period. It signifies the end of menstruation. Now, if you're like me, the end of menstruation was a serious cause for celebration. I was so happy that it was going away. We'll talk about how mine went away in a bit, but so there's a first phase before menopause, so called peri-menopause, and this is when the ovaries begin to shrink in size and periods becomes random, delayed, heavy, light, non-existent, flooding. It's kind of an all over the place depending on your body. And then as menopause is reached, female hormone estrogen and progesterone levels decrease. So menopause and so perimenopause, the ovaries shrink because your estrogen starts to shrink. And then menopause, your progesterone and your estrogen begin to decrease more and more. The hormone levels fluctuate during perimenopause, which is why sometimes you get a period, sometimes you don't. It slowly becomes more and more what am I saying? I'm trying to say as you get less estrogen production, you have less and less periods. So you get perimenopause, unpredictable episodes of heavy bleeding, and sometimes you get none at all. Now, heavy bleeding can be normal and it can be abnormal. So you want to make sure that you're talking to your healthcare provider about your bleeding as you go along. So for me, in perimenopause, my bleeding became so heavy because I had fibroids, and so I ended up requesting a hysterectomy, and so my menopause was kind of forced. They left my ovaries, but I really became menopausal when I had a hysterectomy. And that was simply because I was bleeding so heavily. I was so anemic, and health-wise, I just couldn't take it anymore. So outside of that, in the normal course of hormone reduction, menopause causes the ovaries to stop producing an egg every month. And this fall in estrogen also leads to both physical and emotional symptoms of menopause. Estrogen contributes to, is an amazing hormone. It contributes to things like cognitive health, bone health, the function of your cardiovascular system, and a lot of other essential body processes. But most people conflate it alongside progesterone in female sexual and reproductive health. So it does have a huge part to play in that, but it also has a part to play in all of those other systems in our bodies. The ovaries, adrenal glands, and fat tissue in our bodies produce estrogen. And both male and female bodies have this hormone, but females create more of it. There's 3 types of estrogen. The first one is estrone, and it is present in the body after menopause. It's a weaker form of estrogen, and one that the body can convert to other forms of estrogen as necessary. Then there's estradiol, which both females and males produce, and it's the most common type of estrogen in the female body during reproductive years. But too much estradiol may result in acne, a loss of sex drive, osteoporosis, and depression. So very high levels can increase the risk of uterine and breast cancer. On the contrary, low levels can result in weight gain and cardiovascular disease. So what you're seeing here is that hormones are these amazing substances in our body that minute amounts, one way or the other, imbalances can lead to some serious consequences. Then the third type is estriol, and levels of estriol rise during pregnancy, as this is the estrogen hormone that helps the uterus to grow and prepares your body for delivery. So that's the 3 kinds of estrogen. An imbalance of estrogen leads to irregular or no menstruation, light or heavy bleeding during menstruation, more severe premenstrual or menopausal symptoms, hot flashes, night sweats, both non-cancerous lumps in the breast and uterus, mood changes, sleep problems, weight gain, mainly in the hips, thighs, and waist, That's the menopausal belly. Low sex desire, vaginal dryness and vaginal atrophy, fatigue, mood swings, the feelings of depression and anxiety, and dry skin. So just an imbalance in that can lead to one or more of those symptoms. Hormone treatment, if you decide that that's right for you, is available as a pill, a nasal spray, a patch, a skin gel, injection, vaginal cream, or ring. There's lots of ways that hormones can be delivered into your body. Again, speak to your healthcare provider about which one would be right for you if one of them is right for you. And that can help things like hot flashes and vaginal dryness and painful intercourse and mood changes and sleep disorders, anxiety, and a number of other symptoms. May also help reduce the risk of osteoporosis, which increases when women enter menopause and is significant when women are postmenopausal. Side effects to hormone therapy can be bloating, breast soreness, headaches, leg cramps, nausea, vaginal bleeding, fluid retention, leg swelling, those kinds of things. So pros and cons to all these options. Some types of hormone therapy can also increase the risk of a stroke, blood clots, uterine and breast cancer. So really, your doctor and you need to have a strong conversation about what could be right for you, what are your goals, what are you currently experiencing, what are your goals to achieve, and how do I get there with the least possible side effects possible. So that's estrogen. So testosterone. Most people think testosterone is a male sex hormone, and it is. It's much like estrogen is predominantly female, testosterone is predominantly male. And while males do have more testosterone than females, female adrenal glands and ovaries produce small amounts of this hormone. And this testosterone belongs to a group of hormones called androgens. And its levels, testosterone levels, affect fertility, sex drive, red blood cell production, muscle mass, and fat distribution. Whereas low testosterone can cause sluggishness, muscle weakness, fatigue, sleep disturbances, reduced sex drive, decreased sexual satisfaction, weight gain, fertility issues, irregular menstrual cycles. So just another whole host of things if testosterone isn't balanced correctly in your body. So then there's progesterone. So progesterone is the third sex hormone that we're going to talk about. In hormone therapy, progestin is used in combination with estrogen to reduce the risk of cancer in the uterus that occurs when estrogen is taken alone. So there's ways that Western medicine can, balance off some of the potential side effects. Progesterone is mostly needed for fertility, but it also affects a wide range of other body functions. So when the ovaries don't produce as much progesterone, you may experience migraine headaches, mood changes, changes in bone density, irregular bleeding. A dose of progesterone every day can decrease the number of hot flashes or night sweats that you have during menopause, and can decrease the intensity of each episode. It can improve the quality of your sleep. There's some evidence that shows that progesterone helps protect against cognitive decline if hormone therapy begins early enough in the menopausal process. Some researchers have even found that progesterone improved visual and verbal memory for women in menopause. As always, though, there are possibilities of side effects, so you want to go over them with your healthcare provider. And I found that my naturopath is a very good support in terms of the pros and cons of hormone therapy. Okay, so it isn't really all hormones and physical being that determines how women experience menopause. The majority of our experience is created by our mindset, by our belief system that we have been set up and that have been set up for us, that we've been raised to believe in and we have practiced our entire lives. The symptoms actually that we experience are neutral, meaning they have no real meaning until we assign meaning to them. Hot flashes can be seen as sheer hell, or they can be seen as a transitional need depending on how we interpret them. Discomfort is also, something that we put value judgments on. So how you take the thoughts and feelings you have and interpret them to implement the actions actually determines the results you're going to see. A thought and a feeling repeatedly practiced becomes a belief, and beliefs are what determine the results in your life. These beliefs, which are just thoughts you keep thinking, then start to fire automatically, and you find yourself with a result that you might not want or didn't expect. And many of our menopausal symptoms are tied up with cultural messages of the usefulness of female bodies, which is babies, the worthiness of old female bodies, the ideal of beauty as a youthful phase, and the value of women's knowledge as we grow older. One of the most saddening things that I learned being on a lot of these menopause support groups is how little the women speaking up there valued the wise older woman, and how much they valued the pretty younger one. And so it's really a stage of our life where we have to come to terms with what it is that we believe there and figure out how do we move forward in a way that honors ourselves. And no matter what products you try, whether it's Western medicine, alternative medicine, Chinese medicine, energy work, whatever, your mindset on this phase of life will be actually the key to your experience of it. All right, so
Yeah.
sorry.
It just from a feminist based is
Yeah.
it is so layered and complex because it's not only what you've learned and embodied, it's also the system around you, and also
Absolutely.
the advertisers that have been plagued on you over the last and are continuing, right?
Absolutely.
And also we're vain. We're taught to be vain. So when we start losing our hair, it's not always the most fun.
No, and you know what? And our sense of self is tied up in so many of these components. And for some people, some will be more than others. Hair will be important in some women, and in other women, not so much. But belly fat might be big in some and not so much in others. And then the whole idea about infertility is, meaningful to some and not meaningful to others. And so really it's coming to terms with how you personally feel about it and how you feel about the messaging that's constantly coming at you, and making a decision that makes you feel good, ultimately.
And there's grief there, right? I had a hysterectomy 10 years ago now. And there's grief there.
Mm-hmm.
The really interesting part is at the time, the nurses said, oh, you're automatically going to go into menopause within the next 5 years. Well, we know that's no longer true.
No, exactly.
And my ovaries, because I think I've been in peri-menopause for at least 5 years. I keep getting tested, and the doctor keeps saying, no, your hormones are normal. I said, well, they're normal today. That doesn't mean I'm in peri-menopause.
Well, and that's why, when the number, it's the testing is great, but really what it comes down to is there things that are happening in your body that you would like to be different? And it's interesting about grief because I know my mom had a lot of grief. I celebrated with a cake.
Yeah.
Right. And so
it was not having my period was the best thing ever. But then there was grief there along with the celebration. I still had, and my husband had been fixed for years. But really funny. I was like,
well, and it's all about, what does that mean to you? Right? Like it's the meaning that you personally hold to that event that brings on so much good work that we can do on ourselves to figure out how what does this say? And what do I feel about it? And how do I come to terms with it and move on? I mean, grief is a very real, very common piece to all of these processes. I mean, I have girlfriends who never had children, and this process was intensely grievous for them. It brought up all of the things from, 40 years of trying to have kids. And it's so personal, and that's why I just believe through this whole thing that the work is just to figure out what it is that you feel about it, why you feel that way about it, and can you feel differently going forward, and then trying to manage some of the physical symptoms alongside of that.
Yeah.
And
for me, the physical symptoms, I'm very fortunate to have a beautiful group of women around me that are able to, we talk lots about the emotional piece, and also working in the safe home for 20 years, you deal with that emotional heaviness of all transitions through.
Absolutely.
But it's the and as women, we're sort of mean to each other. It's the physical symptoms and trying to manage those mood swings and hot flash. And the vanity for me is just like, I had beautiful hair and it's gone. It's like half the amount of hair. The belly fat, I've always had belly fat. I'll deal with that.
That's what I'm saying. Like some things are meaningful to women, individual women, and some things aren't. And so that's it's kind of hard to come to terms with that vanity piece, because
and thinking that you're not actually supposed to be vain, but finding out you actually are vain. Oh God,
you come to like certain things, and so there's the couple of the things that I'm going to talk about were the 5 top symptoms that women in this huge survey there was one group, it was over 100,000 women, and they did a survey, and the 5 top components of menopause that they found the most distress with. So brain impact was one of them, brain fog, right? So brain fog isn't all in your head. Cognitive decline during the transition into menopause, including symptoms like forgetfulness, delayed verbal memory, reduced verbal processing, and impaired verbal learning, are all symptoms of cognitive decline that actually happen going into menopause. And memory-related complications are predicted by age, hot flashes, depression, feelings of stress, and the perceived level of health. So your memory-related symptoms can be related to the hot flashes you have, whether you have depression. This is because hormones are so invasive in all of your body systems. And the most interesting thing that I read, which was something that kind of was contrary to what I thought a definition of menopause would be. Menopause is a dynamic neurological transition that reshapes the neural landscape of the female brain during midlife endocrine aging, with an adaptive process going into late transition. So what that means is that peri-menopause and menopause is a big reshaping of your neural cortex, all your brain functions. And then by the time you get into post-menopause, your brain has adapted, and you have less of this neurological implications. I was fascinated by that. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. And going into reshaping it, there's certainly a time there where that's so fuzzy. And my verbal acuity and being able to pull names and being able to speak very well has gone sideways. And I like the hopefulness that it maybe isn't gone sideways forever.
Well, Because some cognitive decline during menopause is due to the sudden reduction in estrogen.
Yeah.
And the decline stops and then reverses post-menopause. There's a
Nice.
great study by Dr. Lily Thomas
Yep.
that gray matter volume returned to normal, especially in terms of memory and cognitive processing, post-menopausal.
Nice. That is
Yes.
lovely to hear.
So there are some things that you can help with brain impact. There are some supplements, omega-3 and 6 fatty acids,
Mhm.
golden turmeric. Young Living has a product called MindWise that is specifically for brain health. There are some essential oils that you can use for mental clarity and focus. Lavender, frankincense, vetiver, lemon, and peppermint are the top 5. And they can just help you regain some of that clarity by accessing your olfactory system and your limbic brain. And there's a super interesting component of brain health that our gut is the site of 90% of our serotonin production. And so if you support your gut health, you are actually supporting better mood and brain health. So if you're doing a probiotic or a digestive enzyme or gut cleansing, making sure you have regular bowel movements, if you are helping your gut to be healthy, you are helping your gut to produce serotonin, which helps your brain.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
Yeah, my naturopath has got me on a serious gut health.
Yep, I have come to think that gut health is probably the most significant health issue that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the second thing that the survey said was of distress for women going into menopause was body size. Weight gain is seen as one of the most negative impacts of menopause by the women in that survey, and I think probably by a lot of women. The weight gain was in the top 3 of the symptoms that caused the most distress during all phases of menopause. And the serious effort required during these periods to lose weight, which for a lot of them, they didn't see prior to menopause. So if we start off with the mindset piece around body size, there's some questions that people who have this as a distressing factor may want to ask themselves. What do I currently feel about my body? How does what I feel show up in my daily activities? How do I think about food? What does that show up in what I eat or don't eat? And what would be different if I loved my body and thought about food differently as a way to honor my body? There's some oils that can help with mindset around this. Frankincense, clary sage, geranium, palo santo, and any of the tree oils can help you reflect more deeply on a question and show your body some love by really getting clear on what your beliefs are around this particular topic. And then just trying to assist your body with all of the optimal nutrition, with all of the gut health supports that you can find, including elimination supports to help your body adapt through this phase. And like I said, there's another issue with menopause, and a lot of women face it's constipation. And really nothing is worse than being bloated and stuffed up. And if you have ever lived with a nurse or had a friend that's a nurse, one of the first questions to ask when you are unwell is, have you pooped?
Have you had a bad Joyce Rogama? Have you had a bowel movement?
First question.
Yeah.
And with all the hormonal changes going on in our body at this time, it's inevitable that your waste delivery system is impacted. So if this system isn't working well, you're not going to feel good, and you're going to feel more bloated. It's going to impact your body image just because of the way you feel. And the hormone drop, a lot of postmenopausal women actually experience more constipation. But you can really take it in hand. So estrogen is responsible for many things, including keeping cortisol levels low. And cortisol is a hormone that's related to stress. It's released when you're under stress, and it helps your limbs get you the heck away from the lion that's threatening you. But when estrogen declines, cortisol levels rise without the stress. And this can slow down your digestive process, because what cortisol does is it puts all of the energy, like I said, into your limbs, takes it away from non-critical systems at that time, which would be your gut. Digesting food when you're running away from a lion is not a big deal. You want to get, all of the energy goes elsewhere. And so it slows down your digestive process and lengthens the time it takes for food to break down. So this can make it more difficult to go to the bathroom. Then too little progesterone can cause your colon to slow down. And the longer the food remains in your colon, the drier it gets, because the water evaporates through the colon wall, and it gets harder to pass. So then some postmenopausal women also have weakened pelvic floor muscles, which can make it difficult to eliminate stool, especially when it's hard and dry. Layer on top of that, you could be taking medications that cause constipation, right? And so there's some things that you can do to help get this more mobile. So daily gentle exercise, aerobic exercise, lots and lots and lots of water. And the exercise helps because it does help deal with some of the stress that's in your body. And then there's some natural products that you can take, higher fiber products. Young Living has something called ICP, Comfort One. Those are both for getting your digestive tract moving again, and cleaning out your bowel system. Essential Zymes is a digestive enzyme that you can take to help the digestion in your stomach. Then vitamin C, D, and magnesium. Now, one of the things that you have to be careful of is that lots of times we're taking calcium because of bone density issues during menopause, but too much calcium can cause constipation. So you do need to have a calcium magnesium combination so that you can counteract the possibility that the calcium that you're taking for your bones actually makes you constipated, because the magnesium helps. And if you're on iron supplements, if you've been anemic for a long time and you're trying to heal from that, iron supplements can also cause constipation. So you have to, think about how do you counteract that. Okay, so emotional impacts are huge for lots of women going through the phases of menopause, because the same hormones that control your menstrual cycle influence your serotonin, which is your chemical that promotes feelings of well-being and happiness. And when hormone levels drop, serotonin levels drop, which increases irritability, anxiety, and sadness. Then layer on top of that any body image issues. If you feel like you're finding new purpose in life, if you have any depression or grief or anxiety, these can all be emotional impacts of menopause and can happen all at the same time. So if you've had anxiety in the past, you can experience an increase in that, even to the point of panic attacks. But mood swings and tearfulness and the development of low mood, like just chronic low mood in menopause, are really quite significant, reported by many, many women. And all of those feelings of validity and usefulness come back again, and feelings like loss of confidence, reduced ability to cope with stress or anger or insecurity, all can come up again during this period. And sometimes these symptoms don't just have an impact on the woman, but they feed out onto the family and their friends and possibly her workplace. An interesting fact, women who have a lot of hot flashes can tend to have a greater degree of mood changes. And if you've previously had any kind of hormone-related depression, like postnatal depression or premenstrual syndrome, you probably have a more increased risk of developing perimenopausal low mood as well. So again, supplements can help sort some of these, or can help support the system. Omega-3s and 6s, antioxidants, vitamin D, vitamin B, zinc, SAMe, magnesium, calcium combinations. All of those things can help support your emotional well-being. You can see some of the things that are overlaps from other slides. So it's not like you have to take more, it's just that a lot of these ones can help. And then essential oils are actually clinically proven to help elevate moods. There's lots and lots of studies on oils helping to elevate mood, because when you smell an oil, it goes into your olfactory system in your nose and directly to your limbic system in your brain. Your limbic system in your brain is your emotional brain. It's where your memories are stored. And it is the only system that can be directly accessed this way without lots of intervening kind of systems in between the issue and the brain. So essential oils are extremely effective at doing this. And you can actually, there's actually a whole system called aroma freedom technique that you can train your brain to have certain responses to certain smells. It's just like if you're walking into, say, someone's home and they're cooking something and that smell takes you back to the time you knew 5 and your mom was cooking it. It's the exact same process. And smell is incredibly powerful, ancient sense that we have. So any of the citrus oils can help elevate your mood. And you can just even open a bottle and smell it, and it will help elevate your mood. Lavender, Roman chamomile, clary sage, ylang ylang, black pepper, neroli, patchouli, sandalwood rose. Those are just some of the ones that really do have an uplifting kind of impact on our brain. However, if your mood worsens or continues for very long periods of time, please, or you have thoughts of self-harm, seek immediate medical attention. Immediate. Go to the emergency room and ask for help. Okay, so energy levels. Fatigue and insomnia during menopause is pretty common, and it is a vicious cycle. You have low energy, so you don't do the things that help you get a good restful sleep, like going for that good long walk in nature. Then you don't get a good restful sleep, and the next day you have low energy, and it's just this cycle that continues. And especially during menopause, it's a cycle that continues a lot for women. So there's a lot of things that you can do to support reducing fatigue and improving your sleeping, reducing insomnia. Get sufficient physical activity during the day. And it doesn't have to be hard physical activity. As a matter of fact, there's lots of studies that show that moderate physical activity is actually better for you than high intensity for this reason, for this purpose. And do things like walk in nature and don't listen to a podcast. Just walk in nature and be unconnected. Another thing you can do is have good sleep hygiene practices before bed, which means no blue light for 30 minutes to an hour before you go to bed. Have your bedroom being dark and calming. Don't have lights on or flickering lights. Don't watch television in your bedroom. Do things that are calming, like gratitude lists or reading non-emotional type books. Then ensure that your body is getting the nutrition it needs and use supplements to ensure optimal levels. Most of us do not come anywhere near to getting our optimum level of nutrients during the day, even if we have fantastic eating routines. And so you're probably looking at some kind of supplemental regime that will help, especially targeted ones that will help you in certain areas. Reduce caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol use completely, like across the board. and drink lots and lots and lots of water. And if you're anything like me, I don't like drinking lots and lots and lots of water. So I put a citrus blend of oils called Citrus Fresh into my water, because Young Living oils you can ingest, and it makes it so much easier to drink more water because it tastes good and it adds 0 calories. Some ideas of supplement to support your energy levels: digestive enzymes. So get the most nutrients out of the food that you eat by digesting them better. Calcium, because calcium helps you sleep better and helps protect your bones from bone loss. But you got to make sure it's got the magnesium in there so you don't get constipated. Vitamin D is a very good mind and energy and immune system vitamin. And contrary to what I was brought up to believe, with vitamin D, you shouldn't take it because it's fat soluble and it stores in your body. We seem to be now chronically low in vitamin D, between not being outside very much because our work is inside and using sunscreen all the time. We are actually chronically low in vitamin D, and your ND can do a great blood test to tell you where your vitamin D level is. Mine was 1/3 of what it should be for my age. Quite surprising. So I'm on a huge dose of vitamin D. And then probiotics, because your gut health is critical to good serotonin production. So, sex drive and hormones. Your libido is pretty hammered through menopause, and it's very common, and it's not surprising, because all libido is created by hormones, and hormones are decreasing or out of whack, our libido is impacted. So menopausal and postmenopausal women may notice that they're not as easily aroused, that they may be less sensitive to touching and stroking, and that can lead to a less interest in sex. And even more significantly, low levels of estrogen can cause a drop in blood supply to your vagina, which can lead to less lubrication, and it could cause your vagina to be too dry for comfortable sex. So here's where there needs to be lots of conversation with your partner around intimacy, if this is part of the issues that you're having. So there are quite a few lubricants out there that can help support you. There's even some that are hormone replacement based lubricants. So if you're looking for that, talk to your physician about the hormone ones, but there's some really good resources. LucyLibido.com is a great place to get some resources about holistic ways of managing your libido during, just manage your libido and get some tips on libido and menopause. But there are also some ways that you can support it holistically. Again, get some exercise, manage your fatigue, because if you're too tired, you're too tired. So try to manage your fatigue, talk to your partner about what's going on, and set some intentional time with your partner to focus on enhancing your total relationship, not just your sexual one. But there are some supplements too. Magnesium helps and zinc helps. And certain plants have been used to boost male and female sexual desire, performance, and pleasure, but there's not a lot of scientific research on how that happens. And so you can't really say that essential oils are an aphrodisiac, but some of them have some properties that can be linked to a more positive sexual experience. And those include clary sage, lavender, sandalwood, and ylang ylang. And it's the smell of them, more than anything, that is said to support you having a more pleasurable experience during sex. There are some, so Young Living has some massage oils that are quite supportive of better intimacy. The main one is called Sensation. But you also have to just note that lubes affect condom. So if you're worried about that, you got to be careful, because condoms can break down with lubrication. And yeah, LucyLibido.com is a great place to go to get some information on this. It's where I got some of this information, and it's really good just to have an open mind about this and to be aware and acknowledge that this might be or could be an issue, especially post-menopausal when your estrogen levels finally settle out and are lower. And like I said a few slides ago, sometimes these different symptoms impact the people around you. So having good communication with the people in your life, from coworkers to family members, can be really important to get through menopause with these relationships healthy and intact. I mean, this is a pretty big life change and some pretty serious and difficult symptoms to live through. But being honest and truthful as you can be with people around you can go a long way to help, especially if they notice when you're struggling. It's a good idea to do a little bit of education with the people in your life so that they have some kind of idea what to expect possibly, and that you're working on these things. You know, it's not like you're just, flipping out because you're having a hot flash, but you're actively trying to improve yourself, your well-being, and this just sometimes happens. So yeah, I think that's a really important thing to remember in all of this, is that while you are the one experiencing it firsthand, other people are experiencing it secondhand and maybe don't have as much information about what you're going through. Okay, so let's talk about some supplements to support a menopausal body. We have talked a lot about all the systems impacted and why the reduction in hormones creates these issues for us. And we've had a couple of glances at what we can do to support our body, but let's just get a little more in depth here. So we're going to talk first about gut health, because our gut is our second brain. Like I said, it is the producer of 90% of the serotonin in our body, which impacts our emotional health. And our gut is responsible for the absorption of nutrients and the elimination of waste. So to optimize gut health, we've got a couple of options. We have, like I was talking before, Essentialzymes 4, which is a multi-spectrum enzyme complex, which aids digestion of dietary fats, proteins, fibers, carbohydrates, all of the kinds of things you find in the modern diet, and gets the most nutrients out of the food that you do eat. So that's the start of feeling better, is actually getting the nutrients out of the food and using it in your body. I talked about ICP, which helps promote bowel movements by increasing, it's a fiber supplement, and it helps by increasing bulk, volume, and water content. So you take these, you drink more water, it acts as fiber and helps to flush out your system. There's a Comfort Cleanse, Comfort One, couple of different names of it depending on whether you're in US or Canada. This supports the colon's ability to function normally and helps if you've got short-term constipation. Then we have probiotics, Life 9 they're called, and it's 17 billion live cultures from 9 beneficial bacteria strains. Now, probiotics, if you don't know, promote healthy digestion, support gut health, and maintain normal intestinal function for overall support of a healthy immune system. Then our product called Ningxia Red, which is an antioxidant juice made from wolfberry puree and a bunch of other high antioxidant fruit juices, helps with the overall ability of our body to fight free radical damage. It is excellent for helping even out energy levels. And for me, this is one of the first products I ever tried with this company. And after a little while, a couple months on it, I noticed that I was not having a 2 p.m. Energy dip, kind of needing an afternoon nap. And I craved sugar less. I had less sugar cravings in the afternoon when I noticed what was going on with Ningxia Red. I still use it every day. Some of the things that can help with mental health, depression and anxiety, like I said, vitamin B. Turmeric actually helps quite a bit with depression and anxiety. And then your omega-3 and 6 oils. And we have a product called Omega Gize for that. You want to look after your physical health. your cardiovascular health, and your neurological health. So there's a liquid called MindWise. It is a unsaturated fatty acids and omega-3 liquid made from Sacha Inchi oil. It's a nut that's ground into an oil. It has, for me, I take it because of the cardiovascular impact. It has a lot of CoQ10 in it, which supports heart function. And because I'm on statins, because of my stents, I need to take extra CoQ10 to counteract the side effects of a statin. But the couple of the biggest ones that I suggest to all my friends with menopausal, perimenopausal, or postmenopausal symptoms, there's two things I recommend completely. Progestin, which is a wild yam and chasteberry extract serum that is a natural progesterone replacement. And unlike medical progesterone, you don't need to move it around your body. You can use it in the same spot. And I just use 4 drops on my forearm before I go to bed. It helps have an amazing sleep, and it helps with your progesterone levels. And then I use something called Endoflex. And Endoflex has nothing to do with menopause, but it's for your adrenal system. And so if you have a significant amount of stress in your life, or you have chronic stress, Endoflex actually helps support your thyroid and your adrenal glands at the back on top of your kidneys. And you rub it on your throat and on the kidney area every single day. And it really helps your body to address the chronic level of cortisol in your system. And then the final thing that we have to worry about, especially as we go into post-menopause, is bone density. Everybody is, concerned about osteoporosis. You don't want to have done all this great work on your mind and your gut just to have your bones fall apart. So you really do need to have a calcium supplement combined with magnesium, and have that daily and starting early.
Awesome.
Sorry?
Awesome. They talked a lot about, at one point, one of the resources that I'm following talked about turmeric and vitamin E as also for hot flashes.
Yeah. Yeah. Turmeric. I've come across lots of recommendations on turmeric. I've also seen that you should take it with black pepper or another, I can't remember what the other one is. There was another natural product you should take the turmeric with so that it's more available to your system. But I know off the top of my head that black pepper is important. So if you're taking something with turmeric, you should check to see that it's got the component that helps it be more bioavailable.
Do you have any products that stimulate the biotin or have a biotin base or hair? I'm really struggling with my hair. I'm still being very vague.
With your hair?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the inner balance, inner beauty collagen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's I believe it has biotin in it, but it's type 1 marine collagen.
Nice.
My hair is fantastic.
Okay.
I stopped losing it.
Nice. I have to go in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
You send me any written material so I can take a look at what I want to buy off of the.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just carry on with this, and you just log off as you need to, and I'll finish up with this, and then I will post it to the YouTube channel so you can go back and look at it. But I'll send you a list.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. It's been really helpful.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, Sylvia.
Bye.
Bye. So we're going to continue talking about magnesium, because magnesium to support your menopausal body. If you're getting muscle cramps, like leg cramps, if they're waking you up at night, that's a magnesium issue. You can also experience anxiety, headaches, low mood swings, palpitation, and crappy sleep. Another interesting sign is pins and needles or tingling. That's a magnesium deficiency. So you might want to check out magnesium. We've talked about vitamin D. There's so much information coming out about how vitamin D can affect your mood and your bones. And a vitamin D calcium magnesium combo is really going to help fight against fatigue, joint pain, low immune system, and hair loss. Vitamin D is not in a lot of our foods. And like I said, we're not getting a lot of sun anymore. So it really is one that you need to think about getting involved in into your system. If you're interested in finding out what your level is before you start taking a supplement like that, go to a naturopathic doctor and they can do a blood test for you, send it away and find out what your level is, and then make a plan to get you up to the vitamin D level that you need to be at. Zinc is another very important supplement to look at. It can affect low levels of zinc can affect your taste and smell, can lower your immune system, can cause hair loss, and kind of can also get you to that kind of apathy where you just can't be bothered to join anything. And it's kind of an odd feeling, but it has been linked to a zinc deficiency. And zinc is very important for the production of hormones. So we know if we're deficient in it, if we're deficient in reducing our production of hormones, we need to supplement with zinc. So I have a helpful supplements list here, and it depends, of course, on what you need and what your body is telling you. You can ask yourself, what's my most troubling symptom, and start there. And so you can use this information to basically tailor a plan to address your wellness needs and go from there. So I've put together some super packs to give you an idea about different package groups that you can get in terms of the different supplements that you could purchase to cover a great deal of all of these things. And they are in the video, so you can rewatch this once I post it onto YouTube. And then there are a lot of essential oils that can help support you through your menopause. We've talked about clary sage. We've talked about geranium. Haven't talked about nutmeg. It's in Endoflex, but nutmeg on its own really helps your adrenals with stress. Lavender, frankincense, Roman chamomile. The list is here. It will be, I put together some bundles so that it might make it easier for you if you wanted to just go and purchase certain ones. If you are, with this one, if you're experiencing a lot of stress along with menopause, consider adding the nutmeg and combining it with the Endoflex so that you have the double whammy. There's one that's just for stress, for women in stress. It's a shorter list. It helps, it gets to the nitty-gritty of the issues and, is more budget conscious. And there's a bunch of options here in some packages that you could put together online. The biggest thing is that get started right away. Start looking at what your body's telling you. You could book a one-to-one with me and we could have a thorough conversation about what you need to do to live better through menopause. And there's a link at the bottom here. You could go there and book a one-to-one appointment with me for free, and we can talk about it and get you started right away. So that is the presentation, how to live well through menopause. And you just need to remember, menopause does not have to be miserable. There are some things that we can actually do to honor this stage of our lives and to start to look forward to the long, healthy life we have yet to come. Thank you very much for coming tonight. I am always available at my email address, hello@newwellnessperspective.com. Give me an email, pop me a Facebook PM, or book one of those one-to-one appointments in my calendar, and we will talk soon. And I hope that this class was helpful to you and that you learned something. Be well.